Okay, I'm just going to leave now and. All right. I don't know if I introduced people or I did. I hope it's there. And we'll start photos. And the first one, Stephen, from last time.
Oh, yeah, that's a hepatica. What I really like about them is the color of the blue, which I think my screen is a little bit brighter than the screen here. But the blue color is to me, an astonishing color. I don't know if you're familiar with a painter called Fra Angelico, who was kind of famous for his blues, but they have that kind of luminous quality to them.
Yeah.
It's just remarkable. The flowers are quite small, that big kind of thing, and they're blooming now and will be for another week or two.
Is that water on them, or is that like drops of water, or they look like they're glistening?
Yeah, it's a little bit of dew from the
Okay,
rain.
all right. That adds to it.
Beautiful light, too, actually.
Yeah, terrific.
Something other than bleach.
Yeah, I think use bleach, whatever. That flower's.
Well, sorry I missed it last time, Stephen, but I was able to resurrect it. So, okay, the next is Stephen's as well, and there's a story to latch this to.
Yeah, why don't we look at the photos and we'll talk about what the photos are about.
Wow.
The soft focus on it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call that one.
You want to see two?
Let's see two. Okay, that's two.
Okay.
And now let's see one and two together. Okay, now the question is going to be, first of all, do people have a preference one over the other? And if so, what their preference is. So we'll do a show of hands kind of vote on this, okay? Wow. And let's not count the fact that I misaligned the one on the left. Let's assume they're both kind of aligned properly. Okay, those would like A will raise their hand.
I'm sorry?
A is on the left? On the
A is on the left,
On the
B
left.
is on the right, yeah. Those would like B would raise their hand. And those that have no preference would raise their hand. Okay.
1, 2.
So what do we got? We got the three pictures were taken, or the two pictures were taken to two different lenses. I set up a tripod, camera locked on, and just changed the lenses, left the settings the same. The picture on the left was taken with a Nikon 500 prime. The picture on the right was taken with a Nikon 180-600 zoom. And
And so what millimeter was the one on the right on your Zoom?
they were both at 500 millimeters.
Oh, okay.
Set both at 500 millimeters, yeah.
But the one on the left is the zoom, and
The one on the left is the prime,
The prime lens.
and the one on the right is the zoom.
And did you apply the same things in post?
Yeah, they're both, the settings were identical. And those are shot in RAW as they came out of the camera. And if you guys shoot in RAW, you'll know they're kind of flat and not very, but that's what happens if you're shooting in RAW, and then you can work on them. But I thought before I touched them, let's just.
Okay, so these are just raw?
Just raw.
There's no edits at all?
No edits of
Okay.
any kind.
the tool is the lens.
I'm sorry?
The tool is the lens.
The challenge being tools.
Yeah, the challenge is tools, and I thought, well, let's take a look at two different tools for taking photographs.
Yeah.
And see what we got. And, the thing that's interesting about them is that there's a pretty substantial price difference between these things.
Yeah.
The one on the left, the prime, is about $3,500. The one on the right is about $2,000. And that's a big jump, and I feel embarrassed to have the two, because the first one was a semi-retirement present from colleagues at work, and the second one was they didn't have the zoom at that point and came in later. And so the question is kind of, is there a difference there that's worth $1,500?
No,
And the vote said the one on the right, which is the cheaper one, is the better one.
yeah,
I think there's more of a dynamic range of color present
Yeah.
on the right, that's what I see,
Yeah, the right one, you're saying?
there's more color, there's more saturation.
It looks like
Is
more
there less
color, yeah.
noise
Yeah,
on
I
the
think a
right?
little
It looks
bit,
like there's less
yeah,
noise to
like
it
the
too.
specs show up
Interesting.
more.
so how much, these are cropped?
Yeah, they're cropped quite a bit.
Yeah,
But, they were initially the same, since they're both 500 millimeters, the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
distance, they're, identical in
really
size to
interesting.
begin with.
well,
Interesting
What's-
experiment.
What is the zoom on the,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
The zoom range.
What is
It's
it?
180 to 600,
I still couldn't hear you.
100 to 600.
180 to 600.
Oh, 180.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, I guess, what I think is that if you're gonna buy one of those lenses, get the zoom. There's not enough difference there to
Right.
justify
spend the prime money.
the price.
Interesting, because I was just
Having
thinking.
said that, I would say that there's sometimes that I'd rather shoot the prime.
Mhm.
And if I'm shooting it, I just want a picture, say, of a bird. I don't want any background and so forth. I kind of like, and I can't really quite say why, but if I was holding up, 10 of them, one with the other, probably 7 of them, I'd like the prime a little better. But not enough to justify, $1,500, $2,000 worth of difference between them, for sure.
Because I
And
see,
for, if you're gonna have one lens, the zoom has so much more versatility to it.
What's the f-stop on the 500?
It's a 5.6 and the zoom is a 6.1. So there's not much difference.
Oh,
in it.
well,
when I'm looking at them very close, the 500, the two little specks are just such a tad sharper than the 180 through 600. I mean, almost insignificant.
Okay.
And then the difference that I also see is the compression in the background. When you look down at the bottom left there, it's just a little more compression with
There
the
is,
prime
yeah.
than it is with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
zoom, but so little.
So little.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
pixel.
if I could magically change them back and forth without having to take the lens off and pay $2,000.
Right.
But, if you're gonna get one lens, the zoom on that, and, it's a lens that everybody's been kind of reviewing as maybe the best value lens in the Nikon lineup, and it's just a hell of a nice zoom lens for the money.
Yeah.
It's like when the 200 to 500 for the F mounts. I mean,
I said,
it's like the 200 to 500
yeah,
and the F mount,
yeah,
how good that was for the
Yeah.
price.
There's a lot more color noise and luminance noise in the left, to me. Maybe I'm seeing things, but I see color in the noise even, so color, noise, and luminance. noise.
yeah. The noise in it, I guess I would comment on that
A
too,
little
that
brighter here.
Yeah, it is brighter.
if we're talking about tools and what do they cost, I use Topaz. It's $300, and it simply takes noise out of the picture when you're shooting. You can, if I shot that at ISO 20,000, you wouldn't see any noise in it.
Okay.
Well, good experiment, as I said, Stephen.
Thank you.
Oh, here's mine.
And this is Chuck,
Does that have something to do with the bicycle?
Of course.
of course.
All my tools, except for general use tools or bike tools, these are specific pieces, they're presses, and they're used to press bearings into, in particular, these all fit bearings into a hub, the central part of the wheel. So the bearings on modern wheels, they're not loose ball bearings, they're caged bearings and they're shielded, so they come in like a pre-package, and then they have very specific diameter, and you can press them into a shell that then the axle goes through the center of it. So anyway, I was just looking for, I figured, you know, from shooting tools, I'm going to be looking for interesting backgrounds, just because it's going to be kind of like a studio shot or something like that, a still shot. And so I was, I don't know, I think I was eating lunch, looking outside, I was like, oh, well, look at that, the light is very nice on the deck, and it's wet, and that's kind of interesting. We just throw these things out there, and so I shot several, you know, perspectives on it, and this one I liked the best. And I kept looking at it. I didn't really like that the pieces in front were out of focus, but then I did like the reflection. And then the more I looked at it, I realized, well, I kind of like that the vertical one is in focus and the others are a little softer. And and then I put a border on it to match the color, you know. I learned how to do that, and Helen always does that, and I think it looks very nice. And then I went back and figured out, you know, learned how to do it again. It's one of those things about editing. If you don't keep doing stuff, you forget it. So I did that, and anyway, the stats are, it was ISO 400, and it's a 99 millimeter focal length. And you know, what I was trying to do is have the bokeh, but I did want to, and so with f8, I wanted to try to have the front to the back in focus, which didn't happen, but I kept it anyway, as I said. And so f8 at 80th of a second was the exposure.
Nice. I love the reflections in the front.
Yeah, the lesson on this is water on streets wherever. It makes,
good, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tools
It was
on
in the
deck.
movie during
That
the
titled
chase
that
scene.
one, Tools on Deck. And then this is my second one. This is, so I set it up in my garage. That's my workbench, which has a nice patina on it now. And those tools on the left that do with the dual head there are tools to work on old school hub bearings. It's called a cone wrench, and it's a very thin spanner. So you can, there's two nuts on an axle that one locks the other, so that, and you have to have a very thin wrench to be able to hold one and tighten the other. And that's really old stuff. Nobody has that stuff anymore. And so these tools are about 50 years old. So I saw that.
Nice.
There was a cognac gift that my wife gave me a long time ago, unfortunately, when I was 50. And so I thought, well, that kind of looks cool. And those tools are like 50 years old. So it all kind of tied together.
Right.
And
How big is, I can't tell how big things are in here.
oh, well, that box is held a 750, you know, bottle, so a wine bottle. So, you know, I guess it's about 12 inches across. And I mean, I wasn't happy with the, I probably should have gotten a step ladder and position myself. I was standing tippy-toe, and I couldn't quite get, I'm a little close to the right side there, and I was being lazy, so I just kept it. So anyway, that's ISO 800, because I had two light sources there. This is my garage, as I say, and I'm facing a wall that the opening of the garage is on my right, so there's a lot of natural light coming in. I think it was sunny that day, so there's a lot of light coming in, and then there's a fluorescent light above. So it's a mixture of light sources. So 800 ISO, and that's a 36 millimeter. So it was my widest angle on that zoom. F 5.6 at a 40th of a second.
So you handheld it at 40.
I handheld it because, yeah, I figured 40 is about as for that focal length. That's about what I can get away with using the stabilizing soft, you know, switch. Yeah.
So check the wrench on the left, is it sticking in a slot?
Yeah, I just have it like
Okay.
just for a little differentiation of
I thought that's
positioning.
Well, and you couldn't see the thin,
Yeah, it shows how thin that particular spanner is. So vintage tools.
Yeah,
Cool.
Get it?
I like it, everything's 50.
Yeah, there you go.
very, very sharp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to be handheld,
Yeah.
the sharpness is great.
Yeah, that's a good test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see if I
You gotta
can
hold your
push
breath.
that, yeah.
All right, Frank's up next.
All right, this was taken a week ago, Saturday. I went out to a town called Bensonville, and they had a battle, the Civil War reenactment. It was the last battle of the Civil War before the second surrender by Johnson to Sherman. And so this was taken inside the hospital tent.
Yeah,
And,
surgical
there's
tools.
all the nasty tools they use, and they were
That's scary.
the saw. Yeah, it was just amazing to walk through the camp there with all of the setups with the soldiers. And I was lucky, we got there at 9 o'clock, so people hadn't come in yet. So we're walking through the camp and there's really nobody else there.
I like the sepia
What's that?
almost. Well, the tone, I mean,
Yeah, so I shot it in black and white, and I didn't do any further processing other than cropping on there, because I used that Nick FX silver, and you can do a lot with it. You make it look like an antique, which I did on the next one. But this one, I just left it in the, with the black and white with a little sepia to it. Because I was hoping to get, and then I put that border on there.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
actually,
cool.
it automatically puts a border in for you.
What does? Which kind of
It's
stuff?
called Nick Silver X, Silver FX. I got the software years ago when it was offered for free. And when they were getting out of it, and Google took it over and they offered, so I still have it on my system. I still use it.
Which one did you use? Oh, the silver.
The silver, yeah. That's it. And this, what I liked about this was a tent for one of the Union soldiers, and I walked by and I saw all of his tools. He had that unit for cooking, I guess, and he had the rag for cleaning, his cup, his knife, but he also had his smartphone.
And a smartwatch too.
That's right, he had a smartwatch on there, and I said, oh, it's nice because it's blending two different periods there with it.
Yeah.
And this one, I used a little more of that Silver FX to kind of make it look like an old style photograph.
So you were able to just make the iPhone?
I was able to isolate the iPhone and made that color,
Right.
while everything else was black and white.
That's cool.
And I did find out that at that time period, the Union soldiers all had smartphones. The South only had the old flip phones. So I think that's probably why they won the war.
The South only had the paper and pencils.
Yeah. But it was a fun trip. I spent probably 5 hours out there, and then the last one was the battle out in the main field. And that was interesting.
Cool.
two good shots.
Very nice.
All right, the next few are Tom's, and the first 2 or 3 are from last time when Tom couldn't be here.
Yeah, this was the flower thing. I was walking outside a friend's house in the early winter, and this had just happened to this flower that was there, and I thought, oh, look at that, how the color is reminiscent, or remnant of its former glory. So it's a winter flower.
So those are the leaves?
Yeah, those are the leaves, and
Wow.
that brown stuff at the top is the remnant of the flower.
Wow. Nice colors.
That's really good.
So how do you get the background like that?
I selected it and
Would you apply a mask or?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But that is what the flower looks like.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was just beautiful. Well, there were hundreds of them. It's maybe 4 or 5 inches high.
It's lovely.
And I just thought, oh, I took a picture of the bunch of them, and then I found this one in particular that looked really nice. So really,
There is a frame around it. You can only barely see it up there.
frames, because I know, I like to see them on the black background, but you have to distinguish the
Yeah.
edge of the photograph.
Did you use Affinity's new tool?
Oh, yeah,
This new selection tool?
yeah,
Yeah, they do.
yeah. Oh, no, not the new one, no.
The AI ones.
No,
yeah.
I can't relate to that thing.
I haven't even tried it yet.
I've tried it and I can't see any advantage to it yet.
No, I don't see any.
They are putting out tutorial after tutorial.
Oh,
So the first one that they put out showed how to do a house. Well, anybody can select a square.
it's pretty easy, yeah. It's
So
hard
there
edge
were
like that. Yeah,
there
it's
were
nothing.
complaints about hair, so they come back and did one that helped, so they've come back and done another
Or
one to
trees,
show you
that's
how
it.
to do hair.
Yeah,
Oh,
They're
tree.
working on it, but I haven't found it to be any advantage yet.
no, it's coarse, it's not any better than this iPhone thing where you just that obnoxious.
Yeah. It doesn't work yet.
You selected that not using AI, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do that.
I like to do that.
There's what, 2 or 3 different selection tools, different ways you
Yeah.
can do it. Yeah, just watch a few videos on
Yeah,
selection.
Is this in Elements?
Yeah, no, but although it's pretty much the same, they're the same tools in my opinion. It's in Affinity.
I have Lightroom, so
I've been, you're very happy with the AI selection things. It's really a handy thing with, in this case, it was just stunning. I mean, the photograph, was stunning because it was selected like that, but you can use it more subtly to make I shoot birds, you can pop your bird out of the background, you can darken the background maybe a notch or two.
So you've used that, the new
Yeah,
AI tool
yeah.
and like it, huh?
Is that in Lightroom or Affinity?
In Lightroom,
Oh, Lightroom, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because even
Because
with
it's a one
Photoshop,
button press,
Photoshop
and then
Elements
you can-
2025,
Yeah,
the selection seems to be a lot better than the older version. So if you,
Oh, yeah?
yeah,
Oh,
it's a little
I'll
bit.
have to get, I haven't got it yet.
So Tom, was there is this just natural light, or did you have other light on this?
It's a lot of processing.
That is we done.
And these things are like this big, and this is a way heavy crop, way heavy.
You know what I'd love
Oh, okay.
sometime
These
is for you to show us what you started with,
Uh,
and then what you wound up with.
I did it with my camera, so I can't do it here, but,
Next time.
okay,
Yeah, kind of like what Stephen did, you can show us.
yeah.
Did you apply a vignette or
Did
did
you
you?
just
work
turn
on
it?
Heavy,
Mhm.
heavy vignette, and I added noise.
Is it a gradient in there or just a vignette?
No, it's just a vignette, and as I said, I added quite a bit of noise. If you zoom in, Mike, you can see the obviously.
Yeah, that's, nobody would see that with,
And the pearlescence quality just came up, and I don't know how the hell.
Really? Ooh, well, it's beautiful.
One of those weird drop downs under.
Yeah.
And you just
Well, no, it wasn't one of those. I don't know how it happened. It's just like, oh, and
It's there it is.
and I see that, and I go, I'll stop there. So they, play around.
It looks gilded.
yeah, it does.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Okay,
one after
this is
the
my
other.
last flower, and this is a pitcher plant that I took at Big Bloomers
Oh, I love that
in
place.
Sanford,
Yeah.
outside Sanford. Yeah, it's a pitcher plant, and it was a hanging plant in a basket, and I pulled out the basket and all the ropes and everything.
Great.
I feel like
Just
an idiot.
the plant.
Did you mess
Well-
with the color? I guess to make it
So,
so.
no,
No?
no, I mean,
Little bit.
I probably saturated it a bit.
Yeah.
A bit of,
Yeah.
All I can say, Tom, is that you certainly have improved in the last few meetings. And hopefully, if this video ever makes it, they'll know I'm kidding, exaggeratedly, but super.
Anyway, I really like these plants. They're so fun and funny.
it's nice colors and.
They all,
Yeah.
they have, each one of those pictures has I think Alice tells me, no, Tom, that is not a flower.
Sorry.
What is it?
I don't know, tell you the truth.
Are they kind of orchid? I don't know. I know they're flesh-eating plant.
Well, try Google Images.
Yeah,
Seriously, if you,
well, yeah, in fact, I did, and it tells you that it's a pitcher plant.
well, picture it in the sense of the way the ends are opened up, maybe,
Right.
Yeah.
or the ones that farthest away from the vine.
I like how they grow off the end of the leaves.
That's interesting.
Well, cool shots.
Gorgeous.
Now for tools. Oh, just a second.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the other one would have been interesting.
Yeah, a little bit more, Mike, a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is tools, yeah, it's pretty obvious what that is.
Looks like science fiction.
Yeah.
It does.
Those are oxygen supply lines. Or a special atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah. And the name of the apparatus it's a excavator, a big excavator, and it's a company called Link Belt. And I titled this one Pink Belt.
It almost looks like a foot for a sewing machine.
Yeah, or a clipper.
That's right.
I see, yeah.
Yes, the contrast between the pink background and the sort of the tooliness of the tool was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was funny, you know, like
Yeah, it's
brutal
more of a
machine against this.
cognitive than it is a visual kind of thing. Wow, it sort of pops out and jumps in.
And what about the shadow,
Yes.
left-hand corner?
Yeah, I selected in the shadow, I liked it. And I liked putting a red frame around
Oh,
that garish pink.
Crazy.
And the orange, it's just
Yeah, the orange.
yeah.
the colors are
Nice
just,
offset.
just torture.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No.
Oh, a beaver.
This is my last tools offer.
Wow.
Where is this?
That's at the lake, you know, Seaforth Beach.
Yeah.
And there's a trail there called the Ponds. And this is what's happening in one of the ponds.
Wow.
The beaver was there.
And on this one, I do have the photograph of this one. If you want to
I wonder if
see
the
later,
tree's
but,
still there.
Pardon?
I wonder if the tree is still there, or if they came back to finish
I
it
think
off.
so. I think they've done something to arrest the beavers.
Oh, okay.
I think.
As
But I didn't like the shot because it was too up. I wish I'd gotten lower.
Oh, yeah.
And I showed so much of the floor, which is not particularly interesting. And but I like the light in the background beyond. And then I did spend a lot of time working on bringing out the actual place where the beavers are dug in.
Yeah, the workplace.
And then I highlighted the tree, the it sign, and then I just darkened the trees that are lying down. And then, except for the ones that have some bark showing on the right, I highlighted those to try to make the light flow back.
I like
And then the
it's like a
reflections
green
too.
texture
Yeah,
or something.
reflections.
Yeah.
I've read that the leading cause of beaver death is dropping trees on themselves. Purporting to be a reputable source, you know.
Well, probably not the one chewing, but the guy, you know, who's watching his wife 30 feet away.
The one chewing told the other one, stand over there.
Yeah, gets hammered.
Here, hold my beer.
Hey guys, watch this.
You know, there's a beaver at Town Lake Park now.
Oh.
A lodge, there's a lodge there, yeah.
And you said there's otters too.
Yeah, I don't know if they're permanently there, but the beavers, I was there, I was taking pictures of the lunar eclipse over there. And it was, 2 or 3 in the morning, and, it's a little spooky when you're out there, but even though I'm familiar with the place, and all of a sudden I hear this cur plunk. And that was a mighty big fish, I don't know what that was, and then it kept, because the beaver, I was right by his lodge, and he was swimming in an arc back and forth and slapping the wall.
Trying to scare you.
Oh, yeah.
It almost worked.
Wow. Strong wind and that tree will be down.
Yeah, that's really cool.
All right, Bob.
So, yeah, that's mine. I was, I didn't think that the tool selected was that exciting, so I had to add a person. So I chose my granddaughter. So
It was adorable.
I messed around with the color a little bit and also
She looks a lot like
lighting
you.
exposure.
Great expression on her face.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a happy little girl.
What's she holding, Bob?
Flute?
It's a rubber mallet.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh, there's the.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a stick of dynamite.
I was gonna give her a chainsaw, but I thought, no.
Oh, that's great.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know that she knew what she was holding, but
Yeah.
it worked anyway.
Another one for the kids' almond.
Yeah.
The shadows are terrific from the tree.
Very good, the way you handle the lighting.
Yeah.
She's in perfect, you must have metered on her.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I like where you placed her in the
Yeah,
frame.
Yeah, and it had to be quick, because
Yeah.
the next one's my grandson.
What's that white down across the bottom?
That's it. From cropping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do it quick, or they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the white's from, on the
The
bottom.
white.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
That's from cropping it.
Yeah, you got outside the original frame.
Bottom.
Oh,
Or it's 1/4 of a frame.
yeah. And,
Wow.
and
Is that
so
a
he's got
shovel?
a shovel, you can't see quite the bottom of it, but his hand's on the top of the shovel.
Okay, and he's got his foot resting on the shovel.
Yeah,
So he's getting ready to dig in.
yeah, he hasn't worked very hard, I can tell you that, so. He's,
Where's all that color? Is that
yeah, there's a
reflected?
lot of color, yeah. It's just out at my son's place.
Did you
Did you do anything?
push that in editing to?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
did, I
create that?
did hue and saturation some,
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
and that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice. How old is he?
He's 4.
Oh,
Put him to work early.
Yeah,
Child.
and it was an aperture mode, no aperture, nothing exciting.
Shots of him.
Well, good memories.
yeah.
Oh,
Lynn.
There's some tools.
Oh, that's serious tools.
Lots of screwdrivers. Old and new.
Oh, those are great tools.
Yep. So
Look at that ball.
that was at 24 millimeters and f8, and I don't know the ISO, I'm sorry, I forgot to go back and look it up. But this was in the garage, and so just whatever lights from the fluorescent lights above,
Oh, those are yours?
they're not mine,
What garage?
my garage.
Yeah, but so but those tools are. They belong to somebody else. They're quite old, those screwdrivers on the left, yeah.
They belong to Mike.
Oh, okay. Quite old. Mike, how long have you had those? Are you that old? Holy shit.
Those are old.
Those are handed down, huh? How do you-
My deceased spouse's father.
Okay.
The other part, and I don't have any of them anymore for one reason or another, but he collected tools. And at one point, there was a catalog from Stanley Plains that went way back from the very beginning of Stanley.
Yeah.
And he had at least one and some doubles of every plane in that catalog.
Wow.
So those would all be like wood frame planes?
Yeah, well, one of the ones that fascinated me most is the what would be a router today, but it would do molding and put the design on it or whatever. But a lot of those are his. The ones over on the far right are his as well, except for the red one and blue one. Sorry to
Light
Steve.
makes that to me, that it comes, it hits the wooden tools on the left, coming from the left.
Well, it's really nice having that black, background, the base, that makes them stand out.
Reminds me of the tool guy who used to be above the woodworking school.
Yeah.
And there's more.
Whoa!
I'm sorry.
The hammer drawer,
Yeah, it's like saying,
some with no handles.
wow, look at that ball peen one on the right. That's a unique,
Oh, yeah.
wow, those hammers are old.
And then there's the modern one over on the far right there.
The one right here, this one, you see that?
Yeah.
That got me an A in shop in junior high school.
You made that?
I don't wanna call bullshit, but I see some printing on the handle there. Did you do that too?
No, the handle I didn't make.
Oh, okay. Then I believe you.
Where did the handle come from?
Probably the hardware store. But anyway,
You know, in shop class, when we were all younger, I remember learning how to make a screwdriver blade, and they can't do that now, I guess.
yeah.
No.
What are you talking about? You have a foundry in your school?
Well, it was a blank piece of steel, and then you would just form it by hammering it, like.
Blacksmith.
Yeah, blacksmith.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think that one came as a rectangular piece of metal, and it was just whittling it, basically. Sorry to,
Amazing.
How you whittle
That's
metal.
really cool. Yeah.
well, never mind. I won't give you any more of my history.
Maybe files, you must-
Yeah, there's another whole drawer full of those.
They say, the expression dumber than a box of hammers, but I think it's pretty sharp.
Well, what do you think about the picture?
I hate the picture.
No,
Again, the
I love
lighting
the
makes
tools,
it to me.
the colors, again, like with the black.
That's
background,
great.
So sharp,
Well, they're in a drawer.
and side lighting, nice, I like the side.
So this is the same focal length and f8.
Wait a minute, what's going on at the very
Yeah,
top?
top left, but there's something.
That's a reflection of the back of the drawer.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I should have cropped that out,
Interesting.
but that's what it is.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay,
Nice.
Bill.
That's a tool.
That is a big tool.
Well, when I was thinking of this one, I was thinking about all the incremental changes over the centuries that man has done. I mean, you have everything in here from the wheel, you have learning how to use gears, you have a pulley system, and very back, there is a unit that they used to use by putting, I guess, wood in it,
Yeah, to make steam.
and it would make steam. And then it had a big wheel on it where they would hook up a belt to maybe to some other
Power.
piece of equipment.
So where was this?
This was down at that,
No, that wasn't at Gillian, was it?
yeah,
Oh, that was down there?
Mill.
But what was the tool? I mean, was it a sawmill or? What did this thing do?
I don't know.
They didn't have any description.
It kind of looks like a power.
When I
plant.
shoot pictures of birds and somebody says what kind of bird it is, I'll say, a bird.
It's one with feathers.
It's a nightmare for-
Yeah. But this whole area down there just had, you know, a lot of different equipment that was used at farms, probably at mills and things like that. And they've just accumulated bits and pieces of it all around.
There's a working version of that over at the park that's associated with the fairgrounds in Raleigh.
Oh,
If you walk up to the side, there's a sawmill that is operating up there with a, you know, a disconnected steam engine, don't like thing.
I just realized that I missed the orange cone in the back.
That's, yeah,
I didn't take it out.
didn't take that out.
But this was shot at 24 millimeters, 1/25 of a second, 90 ISO, and f8. So, yeah, it was just the perfect lighting, because I didn't do much to it other than just a little cropping and just did a haze removal, which I like what it does. I've always said that. And that's really all that I did to it from a technical point of view.
Well, this last one is one I also dropped from the last meeting.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
The rocket.
Yeah, that's the
Oh, cool.
Falcon 9 SpaceX flight that,
Oh, okay, there it is, yeah.
yeah. This was the one that was kind of come up the coast, and I was up at the, was it the Everett Dam or whatever it is by Jordan Lake there. So,
It was a good place, yeah, to see east, yeah,
so we knew that it was gonna come up there, and sure enough,
and it did.
and you can see the engines on the outside, and then the engines on the inside, they're actually differentiated. And everything that is falling behind it is just the light of the sun coming over the horizon, because the rocket was high enough,
Yeah.
and that's kind of reflection off of everything that's spewing out of the rocket. You can see it a lot better on the laptop.
What time of the day is that?
That was at about 6:05, 6:10 PM.
Really?
And
And it just so happens that the trajectory of that one had to go up the coast, where most of them are going in another direction, which we could never see it.
and I'm confused, Bill. What the white, the black, the white, is that
That's the booster.
looking at the?
So it's going away from you.
Yeah, it had come up
Okay.
kind of, because I only had about 90 seconds, and I had no clue what kind of settings I was gonna need for it. So I just kept
Hit or miss.
changing them. I started off with, it was too bright, and I kept ratcheting it down to make it darker and darker until this one made more sense. And I shot this with the 200 to 500 at 500 millimeters, f5.6, because that's the minimum. And it was ISO of 25,600.
And you had a tripod, of course.
Well, I had a gimbal, so.
You can
yeah,
track it.
If it was a tripod, it would have been more difficult, but I have a tripod with a gimbal on it, and I could just follow it.
Cool.
But,
It's an incredible photo.
that was an interesting sight.
Were there a lot of people out there with you, or you were the Lone Ranger?
I was the only one there, and then there was a guy that had this long lens on it that was just leaving, and he was trying to shoot birds. And I said, well, you know, Falcon is gonna come overhead here in probably about the next 20 minutes. So he went to his car and he got his tripod, and he stayed out there, so it was just two of us. No, he had no clue that it was gonna happen, but
so what was the shutter speed?
the shutter speed was 1/640th of a second. Yeah, and all those things like I said, I had about 90 seconds to keep trying. You know, some of them were too bright,
Yeah,
so,
Yeah, hit or miss. They kept
Oh, yeah.
trying different things.
that's amazing.
yeah, and this was really cropped down a lot too, and then I put it in topaz,
sharpen it. Yeah.
Did you add the stars? No,
No, that's,
just kidding.
And that's a single exposure, obviously, you
Yeah.
can't, yeah, you wouldn't be able to get multiples and stack that,
Mhm.
because it's moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it was just fun because it was something I never did.
Yeah.
Never tried to, and I think I talked to Frank and Bob about it sometime, to go down to Kennedy during some space flights and
Yeah.
maybe take some shots, yeah, but, yeah, this one just presented it, because
Yeah.
I saw it on the news. That's how I knew.
It was coming, yeah.
Well, I hope that this makes it to YouTube instead of losing it again. But any closing?
Yeah, we were talking about getting a class in affinity, and we talked about it, but no one's volunteered to give it.
I bet Tom was.
Probably nobody that, except for Tom, that's an expert in it, and
Tom, are you still?
Affinity.
I've got a sophomore high school vegetation meeting.
and I have a lot less than that.
Affinity 2 is the,
I know Helen can do more in
are
it
you
than
on
me.
Affinity 2? It's not that, it's just using the tools of it, you know what I mean?
Anytime anybody wants to, what I know about affinity and, Chuck knows a whole lot, just call me and I'll sit there with you for as long as you want.
There you go, Larry.
All right, cool, well,
Well,
I'll be calling you, man.
That one YouTuber, the guy George, I think I've sent the thing out,
Yeah.
where he does them and I think what Larry was really talking about when we talked about it a month or so ago was doing specific things, not going through a whole
Right,
thing.
exactly, just,
And
right.
that HTG,
HGTV?
no,
No, this is HTG George, he's, right, is that the guy?
yeah,
Yeah,
You
he's
sent
good.
that
He's a
out?
good teacher.
Is that the one you sent out?
yeah,
I didn't open that, I'm sorry, so.
yeah, and, yeah, he does things that are very, and he does it for Photoshop Elements as well as Affinity.
Yeah.
I
So,
used to a lot for elements,
yeah,
yeah. Do a lot of stuff.
Well, I will sign us off. Another good meeting. And, oh, Frank, next time?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, you're gonna be away at the next meeting, right? Okay.
Yes.
And you still got my notes from the last time, so I can do that again. Did you change anything with the Zoom link?
The only thing I can say, Frank, and to everybody, it seems like every time we have a meeting, there is something different.
Okay,
But I think it should work generally.
all right.
So,
Okay.
and then what's the challenge for next time?
That is surface, metal, glass, et cetera.
What's,
well, I thought you said circus.
what's that,
Say it again?
If I take it, it'll be a surface.
what's the date of that?
Surface.
That is April 8th.
April 8th.
All right. Thank you all.